The Battle of Kulbiyow took place on the 27th of January 2017, when Al-Shabaab militants attacked and took control of the military base and town of Kulbiyow, held by the Somali Armed Forces and the Kenya Defense Forces, KDF. Background: on the 25th of January, the Kenyan troops from Kulbiyow attacked a base of Al-Shabaab at Batata, though the attack was repelled. When the attack eventually began in the night of 26 to 27 January, it was launched from Batata. Battle: when Al-Shabaab forces began moving towards Kulbiyow, they were spotted by an AMISOM surveillance drone around midnight. In response, the Kenyans at Kulbiyow began firing mortars and artillery at the militants. This bombardment lasted about 50 minutes, whereupon the base's defenders assumed that they had repelled the Al-Shabaab fighters, and resumed their normal routines. Just 20 minutes later, however, the drone spotted hundreds more militants approaching the base. This renewed attack caught the defenders largely by surprise, and they were not able to stop an explosive-laden truck that was driven by an Al-Shabaab suicide bomber into the base, though the car bomb was finally destroyed by a Kenyan soldier who fired a 84mm anti-tank gun at it. The vehicle had already breached the base's outer perimeter by this point, allowing the militants to storm it. As a result, a brutal and confusing firefight began. Captain Silas Akador, the Kenyan second-in-command, attempted to reorganize the defenses and rallied several soldiers to his position, but was killed by a second car bomb. The artillery battery commander, Major Mwangi, was also killed at some point during the fighting. Soon after, the base's inner defenses were breached by a third bomb-laden truck, whose explosion allowed the Al-Shabaab fighters to overrun the remaining defenders. The surviving pro-government forces were forced to flee into the bush, as the militants pursued them. With the retreat of the pro-government forces, Al-Shabaab was left in full control of both the base as well as the nearby town, and the insurgents proceeded to take vehicles and supplies, while burning those military vehicles they could not use. Aftermath: the KDF later denied the high number of killed Kenyan soldiers as Al-Shabaab propaganda, with one KDF spokesman even refusing to admit that the base had fallen in the first place. Quote, "The attack was believed by analysts to have primarily been a propaganda coup by Al-Shabaab, which wanted not only to prove that it still was a force to be reckoned with, but possibly also influence the upcoming elections in Kenya, where the mission in Somalia was increasingly questioned due to high casualties among the KDF. Directly after the Kulbiyow raid, Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga once again reaffirmed his position that the KDF should retreat from Somalia.